In this video, we're going to learn how to rewrite division as multiplication, just as we learn how to rewrite subtraction as addition. So, rewrite the following division problems using groups of language and using the missing factor model. So, the first row is filled out. Our division problem is 12 divided by 4 equals some number. And some number is a quotient, which we're trying to solve for. And we said that we can think of this as how many groups of 4 are in 12. Now for our multiplication problems, the first part was our number of groups. So we said some number of groups of size 4 equals 12. Well, since the number of groups is the part that's missing, we can rewrite this as multiplication where there's one factor missing. We know the factor 4, we don't know the first factor. Okay, and this may actually be how you solve division problems. If you know all of your multiplication problems, okay, or rules, then you may think when you see 12 divided by 4, what do I multiply 4 by to get 12? Okay, so that's how you could think of it as multiplication because the two operations are connected. So let's fill in the rest. Here, it's how many groups of negative 4 are in negative 12. So how many groups is our question mark, we don't know, times negative 4 will give us negative 12. So that's a missing factor model. Next we have how many groups of 4 are in negative 12. So how many groups would be question mark of times 4 are in equal to negative 12. And finally, how many groups of negative 4 are in 12. And translating to multiplication, how many groups is our question mark of multiplication negative 4 are in or is equal to positive 12. Okay. So these division problems are equivalent to these missing factor problems. So that's how multiplication and division are connected. Now let's extend this idea to figure out how we can multiply and divide side numbers using one common strategy by looking for patterns. So notice here we have a positive divided by a positive is going to be positive. And we saw dividing a negative by a negative was also positive because we found there are 3 groups of negative 4 and negative 12. Now remember, these two results were negative. We had negative 3 and negative 3. So here we took the opposite of this result, and here we took the opposite of this result. Okay. So it looks like, based on the division, if the signs are the same, positive divided by positive or negative divided by negative, then the answer is positive. And if the signs are different for the two numbers, the answer is negative. So let's see if that holds for multiplication. So let's fill in the results here. So this would be 3, 3, negative 3, and negative 3. Well, let's see where the signs are the same. So here, positive times positive is positive. Let's see where down here we have negative times negative, and look, it's also positive. In both of these cases, we have a positive times a negative or a negative times a positive, and in both cases, the result is negative. So to summarize, to multiply or divide two signed numbers, multiply or divide the absolute values. So you're going to look at the numbers without concern to their signs at first. All of these you just consider 12 divided by 4 is 3. Okay. All of these you just think of 3 times 4, which is 12. And then after you do that, you can determine the sign. If both signs are the same, the sign of the result is, we saw, positive. And if the signs are different, the sign of the result is, what we saw here, negative. So now we have a general strategy for multiplying and dividing signed numbers.